Hi guys, welcome to today's video. This year for the New Year, New You, How to Improve Your Personal Style video, I wanted to do something a little bit different and share with you my list of things that I happen to have created in the past year of working with my own personal styling clients. If you are new here, I'm Tasha Julie and I'm an LA-based fashion stylist. So for this year, my list is a little bit more holistic in things that I think everyone can do straight across the board, food for thought to improve your personal style. It is less technical than last year's where we were focused on specific things that you can do to improve your personal style in the way of tailoring, body type, and those types of things. So this list being a little bit more holistic, I have it broken down into the yes pile, so things that I think everybody should do more of to improve their personal style, and then the no pile, which I'm going to feature next week because today I really need to pick me up. It's that busy end of year season where I've got still a little trickle down for some holiday dressing for my clients. Most of the bulk of what I'm doing right now is New Year's and then the resort travel, whether it's cold into the mountains or tropical. And then I also have the Golden Globes coming up. So there's a lot going on. I want to thank all of you for being here and allowing me to have a different creative outlet and kind of take a break so that I can go back to doing the rest of what I need to finish up for the year end in a refreshed spirit. So I've got my tea here and my little list. So without further ado, let's get into my list of all of the things from the yes pile, things you can do to improve your personal style, new year, new you, which the old you is still pretty great, but what things do you want to take on from a personal style where you can express yourself through beauty and art and all of those things. So let's get into the yes pile. All right, the first thing that I would love to see come back in 2025 is what I'm going to call the return of personality pieces. Now, I talk a lot about having a good base or capsule wardrobe over here on my channel, and if you follow any of my other content, and I do still think that's hugely important. That way you have good basics, you can grab and pull and mix and match, and everything kind of plays nicely together, and it's easy to get ready quickly, and you've got the good base or capsule wardrobe going on. But I want to see the return of personality pieces. So what I mean by that is something that specifically speaks to you. It is unique to your personality, your style. That way you can incorporate it into your base or capsule wardrobe and it makes things a little bit more interesting. So I have a couple of reasons behind this idea. I feel like everybody is getting their fashion inspiration from the top 6 major fashion influencers on social media, which then trickles down into these stores. Everybody's basically buying their stuff from the same top 6 stores, and everybody is starting to look the same. So personality pieces, I want to see those come back. Now this could be something that you have bought at a thrift store, something you've had for a really long time, something that perhaps was handed down to you from a family member, but it is unique. So let me give you a really great illustration of something like this. So I was on TikTok the other day and I saw this gal, I'll put her information here, but she was featuring non-basic pieces out of her own wardrobe. And one of the pieces was this really adorable silver panty clutch. Now I realize that's probably not something for everybody, but you get the idea. It was unique, it was cool, it could perhaps be a conversation starter. So I just thought it was major vibes of a personality piece, which is something I want to see come back in 2025, stepping away from us all getting our inspiration from the same 6 sources, buying our clothes from the same 6 major retailers. So case in point, you guys, the other day I was in Erewhon, and if you're not familiar with Erewhon, it is an LA bougie grocery store where you can buy $40 smoothies and things like camel milk. But everyone in there, I'm going to speak specifically about the women just because that's, what most of us are here for. So all of the women in Erewhon looked exactly the same, separated into 3 main age categories or demographics. So you had the younger women, middle of the road, and then the older women. Everyone in each age category pretty much looked the same. And I do get it, there is a certain amount of camaraderie that kind of goes along with wearing things that are on trend that other people in your friend group or your demographic are wearing, but I feel like everybody has turned into basically an algorithm avatar. So the younger women all had on basically the same type of uniform. The middle of the road, still pretty much the same look. And where I saw the most uniqueness and the best personal style, honestly, you guys, was in the older women. Some of them were very grandma-esque, and I highly doubt that they were scrolling through their phone trying to decide what to wear before they went out to Erewhon. So the grandma category was the best because they are not being heavily influenced by social media and their sense of individuality was really there. So I think that's a really good argument for bringing back more personality pieces and kind of stepping away from the major influence of social media. Which sort of ties into my next thing that I want people to try to experiment more with when it comes to their personal style and their, sort of makeover for 2025. I want to see the return of vintage pieces, really amazing things that, again, speak to you. So let me give you an example of one that's on my radar. Back in the day, I had a Chloe Silverado bag, and during one of my many closet cleanouts, or one of the times that I moved, I ended up getting rid of it. And now I wish that I hadn't, because I need a Chloe Silverado bag. Guys, truth be told, every time I wear something that I have had in my closet forever, I get the most compliments. So I think that people are really kind of yearning to see more unique fashion, things that they're not seeing every day. So bringing back retro or vintage pieces that are from times past, that speak to you, that may be from your unique mood board, which brings me to my next thing that I want to see more of in 2025 when it comes to people's personal style, and that is the return of the it girl. Not the manufactured beauty, social media nonsense that we've been seeing for years, but the return of the it girl, indie, cool, like the Chloe Sedgwicks of the world, maybe even Joan Jett, whatever happens to sort of speak to you with inference or inspiration from retro or times gone by. Bring back some of those pieces. I've recently seen the Balenciaga City bag come back. Say what you will about Balenciaga, if they're not canceled in your world, that's a consideration, but things like that. All right, the next thing I want to see more of in 2025 when it comes to people's personal style or style improvement is the renewed spirit of getting dressed. So I know we're all in a hurry and it's easy to just throw on whatever and go out and do what we need to do. I've done it, I'm sure you've done it, but I want to see a renewed spirit of getting dressed. Like, we are alive, the world is beautiful, you don't have to get dressed, you get to get dressed. So I want to see a renewed spirit around what we're putting on. So if it takes just a few more minutes before you go to bed at night to figure out what you're going to wear in the morning, or something that I talked about in last year's style refresh, New Year, New You video, was to kind of set everything up for the week during your Sunday refresh. If you meal prep or do any, housework, things that get you set up for the week ahead to be at least successful and not in a rush. So whenever you're taking a few extra minutes to pull your clothes, get your outfits put together, maybe try them on if it's something you haven't worn before or something you haven't worn in a while. But I want to see a renewed spirit in getting dressed. And honestly, you guys, it takes maybe a minute or two longer to put on something nice and look put together than it does to put on something shabby that you end up feeling icky in throughout the day, and your confidence suffers, maybe even your mental state of mind, and you just feel icky and you don't have the best interactions. So let's renew our spirit for getting dressed. Again, we do not have to, we get to. Ooh, this next one is a fun one. I'm bringing sexy back. Yes, I want to see the return of sexy. So let's all get together and bring sexy back. So when and where it is appropriate, of course. I don't want anyone seeing this and taking it as advice to go to work with their boobs out and getting sent home. So sexy in places when it is appropriate, because when it's not, it can come off as trashy or a little bit tart-ish. But sexy when and where appropriate. So date night, evening wear, those types of things, bring sexy back. And if you are looking for a little bit more inspo on how to do so, and perhaps a slightly more tasteful or off the beaten path kind of way, I did recently film a video on how to incorporate sexier pieces into your wardrobe. I will put that up here, so if you want to check that out, that is there for your viewing pleasure. All right, what is next? Oh, this is a good one. So during the pandemic, I was sitting in my living room, like most of us, wondering what was going to happen to people's personal style once we came out of the pandemic. Now that that's all in the past, I think that we've kind of seen the way that that has had an effect on people's personal style. And the thing that I want to see more of in 2025 when it comes to your own fashion or expressing your personal style is more comfort pieces. And I don't mean like ugly comfort pieces. I mean like stylish, cute, attractive, still appealing, which I think we can thank the pandemic for, because people sat around in their loungewear and their pajamas forever. And then when it did, come time to go back out into the world, I think that was still kind of heavily influencing people's decisions in what to wear. Because when you're wearing something that is tight and uncomfortable and rigid all the time, you don't notice it until you take a break from it. And I think that's what happened during the pandemic. So yeah, I do want to see the return or the continuance in the resurgence of comfort pieces, but appealing, stylish, so a little bit more fluid, a little less rigid, maybe a little less tight, softer fabrics, cashmere, flowy trousers. So things like that, I still want to see the continued resurgence of comfort. And even when it comes to things like footwear, like a kitten heel, I know that's polarizing. A lot of you guys that I talk to either love it or hate it, but they feel good on your body. And I think this can be especially helpful during what I was just mentioning, like you need to leave the house quickly, maybe you have a busy day, and you just don't have the presence of mind to throw on something that's like super tight or structured or uncomfortable. I do want to see the return of more and more comfort pieces being woven into people's wardrobes in a way that still looks beautiful, tasteful, and presentable. All right, the next thing I want to see the continued resurgence of is quiet luxury. And I don't necessarily mean that you have to be buying pieces from brands like The Row. I think they really do quiet luxury the best, but less loud luxury fashion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from, again, these quiet luxury brands. I understand that those are not in everyone's budget, and they can sometimes be quite over the top expensive just for something like, a basic pair of black trousers. But the idea or the look of quiet luxury, so less loudness, less tackiness, less ostentatiousness in our basic pieces. So things that look tailored, classic, have longevity, and just are really overall put together, nice, quiet luxury looking pieces. So the return of that, less loud luxury. We all know that everyone loves Gucci. You don't have to have that logo painted all over your entire body. So more classic, quiet luxury that still reads very, very refined, very, very luxurious, but it is not a neon sign shouting, "Look how rich I am." I think that has really gotten very, very obnoxious. It feels out of place in the way of the world these days. Like, go outside and see what's going on around you. It's no longer, in my own opinion, appropriate to be shouting from the rooftops how rich people are, but you can still, of course, have a luxurious vibe in your wardrobe, look tasteful, but there's no need to announce it with a megaphone. I think that has quickly fallen out of favor, and it's become now, in my opinion, kind of tacky and in poor taste. All right, next up for the return of fashionable things in 2025, I'm gonna call this fashion psychology. So I have actually been making some side work of fashion psychology, given what I do, obviously, and working with my clients in more of a conscientious way around their choices. So just like the root of any issue that we might have in our lives, a lot of these things stem back to childhood, perhaps even childhood trauma. So more fashion psychology and reflection in our own wardrobes and our choices and what we're choosing to put on. So if we're thinking about, why am I choosing to buy or wear this? What am I trying to tell the world, or what is my story? Why have I made these choices? So sometimes we make choices that are not for the right reasons, and these factor into all sorts of things, but even in what we are wearing. So again, stemming back to childhood trauma, perhaps you were not seen, heard, nurtured, and these things are trickling into your subconscious and affecting what you are choosing to put on your body and the story that you are choosing to go out and tell the world about yourself. So some more reflection on that, I think, can really help people out, not only with their mental well-being, but their personal style as well. So more fashion psychology, conscientious consumerism, and this does sort of tie into it. I have a before you buy it checklist. I will link that in the description box for you. It is free. That way there's a little more food for thought when you are buying things around why do I feel like I need this, and then some of the other things that are going to be on that checklist for you. All right, next up on my list of things that will help you to improve your personal style for 2025 is going to be refining your social media following. So, what are you following on social media and what value is that bringing to you? Especially when it comes to fashion influence, I find that it can be helpful to sort of lean away from the entertainment type of mainstream influencer. So if you lean more toward things that bring you educational value, inspirational value in a way that works for you in your demographic. So following people that have a similar body type, following people in a similar age group, because case in point, you guys, no matter how hard I try, I cannot turn myself into a 22-year-old Australian girl. So more social media following around things that bring you joy, education, and from people who are similar enough to you, again, in body shape, size, height, all of these things, because there are things that you cannot alter about yourself. So you can't become 6 feet tall. And yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. So fine tune your social media accounts that you follow and weed out the ones that don't work for you. All right, last up on my list is accessorizing. So I really think this is going to help you to sort of renew and refresh your personal style for this coming year. And the reason that I bring it up also circles kind of into more conscientious consumerism. So you can have something like a really great black dress in your wardrobe that is going to be really multifaceted if you have the right accessories. So that way you're not having to go out and buy more than you essentially need. It's healthier for your finances, it's healthier for your personal living space. You don't have a ton of stuff that you don't need, you're not wasting money, and you don't even have this mental clutter. So you've got some really good pieces that you can accessorize and kind of transform into different things for different occasions. So the return of accessorizing, and you can tie in other elements from things on my list earlier on in the video, like these great personality pieces, vintage finds, indie things. And that is everything that is on my list of style improvements for 2025 when it comes to revamping your personal style. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave me a comment below or find me on other socials. And with that said, I hope to see you guys soon in another video. Part 2 of this will be the things that I want to see less of, or things that people should consider doing less of to improve their personal style for 2025. So I hope to see you there soon. And until then, be well. Thanks for watching.